people want is they want rationality. And what they're seeing from Democratic politicians, and they've seen it time after time, is this complete irrationality, right? So you've got Gavin Newsom after Biden comes into office saying, well, now I'm going to reopen, even when in California, the numbers were going up. What is driving people nuts about this is that they're seeing this complete irrationality, especially from the left. And when you're talking about taking away constitutional freedoms, you're talking about keeping kids out of school, you're talking about keeping people out of church so that they can't worship, people want to see the evidence. They want to see it actually explained. And that is what the left has failed to do.
Can I ask where the 10,000-word article about Dr. Anthony Fauci lying to the American public is?
Yeah.
He admitted it. He said, hey, at the time, there weren't enough masks for the healthcare providers, so I figured I'd just lie. You want to talk about disinformation, weaponized disinformation? And by the way, if masks work, then how responsible is Dr. Fauci for the deaths that occurred because people heard what he said and said, okay, I won't go out and buy a mask?
Let's double down on that, Raheem. That is so important. So again, let's make sure all of the viewers are getting this. It's so important. You've got Dr. Fauci saying that at the time they were coming out. You remember the tweets coming out, don't buy masks, stop buying masks. It's not just that they were recommending against them. They were yelling at the American people with exclamation points, don't buy masks. All right.
Don't buy masks. Don't listen to the president. He's talking about hydroxychloroquine. He's a psychopath. Don't listen to him. What are we learning now? We're learning that all of these, and by the way, it's not Dr. Fauci. The reason I pick on Dr. Fauci is the highest paid employee in the U.S. federal government. Your money. And he's sitting out there by the swimming pool doing those fashion shoots with the New York Times Magazine and whatever it is. But it's also all the Politico, New York Times, The Hill, all of these guys who parroted the lines, you don't need masks, HCQ is a bad idea, it'll make you worse. How much blood is on their hands?
That's right.
This vaccine thing is going to be a big deal because Dr. Quay said the other day, this clearly came from Wuhan lab. It's clearly part of a bioweapons program of the PLA. The only question before us, was it inadvertently released through a gain-of-function experiment because of lack of management, or was it purposely released? We're going to get Dr. Quay back on. The buried lead in his interview is they were working on a vaccine back in October and November. The great Miles Guo told us that back in the spring. He says, hey, this thing was let off and they had a vaccine all ready to go. It wasn't perfected, but they had a vaccine. We're going to get to all of that. And by the way, I'm sure they're going to say, that's another crazy conspiracy theory. It's wild how they all come true. Okay, there's no conspiracies, but there are also no coincidences. We're going to turn in a moment. We're going to get into the Lincoln Project. Also, Boris is going to give us a market update.
The Lincoln Project getting into.
Mika, come on. George Conway was going to be Solicitor General of the United States. Regardless of what George is on Trump, he's one of the smartest, most articulate. I think he's a partner at Wachtell Lipton. He argues in front of things all the time. He's going to be Solicitor General. George, you're going to be Solicitor General of the United States. You can't say, I'm speechless.
He can say he's speechless,
unfathomable.
But Mika's response shouldn't be, okay, cheers, bye.
Let's talk about Lincoln Project. McCain's got a bunch of answers on it. This is McCain's one of his oldest political senior advisors.
Correct.
Stuart Stevens, all you guys have worked with this guy forever, right? You've known the facts. This has been well known for a long time, as I'm sure it's all going to come out. Raheem Kassam, you've known about it. 6 months ago, you tweeted about it.
Oh, yeah, I was tweeting about this. There was information coming out. We didn't quite know how weird, strange, bizarre, awkward, creepy it was going to get, but now we know at least 21 men received overtures from John Weaver, as you say, long-time establishment Republican consultant, worked for John McCain, worked for John Huntsman. He was the lead guy on the Huntsman. Romney, all of these guys. I mean, he has been heavily...
Kasich.
For Conway to come out and say, oh, by the way, I barely knew the guy, that'd be like me coming out and saying, I barely knew Steve Bannon. Okay, I never met the guy.
You say that all the time.
I try to convince people of it. Nobody buys it anymore. But here's where it gets really, really creepy, really weird. Soliciting messages from a 14-year-old while he was still in high school, and then going on to say, I want to take you out to Vegas and lavish things on you and all this stuff. John Weaver had a family throughout all of this.
this is not harassment. It's deeper than that, right?
And when Weaver was first, when this first started to come out, and people like Molly Jong Fast got news of this story was about to come out 6 months ago, Weaver suddenly disappeared. Remember, he was no longer in any of the pictures with the Lincoln Project people, and they said, oh, he's had a cardiac event and he's in hospital, and you can't ask him any questions about this now. I know the New York Post was going to do this story about 6 months ago, but then the cardiac event happened, and nobody wanted to follow up on this stuff. So the questions for the Lincoln Project founders, Conway, Schmidt, Wilson, Horn, Steslow, Reed Galen, Mike Madrid, and by the way, I have a list of all your donors, and we're going to be asking them questions about this as well, is what did you know, when did you know it, and why did you remove him from your literature 6 months ago if you had no idea this was going on?
Okay, Eric, I'm coming to Eric, comments, observations.
Yeah, look, I mean, the big thing that's happened with the Lincoln Project is it's ripping the Band-Aid off of what everybody knew and suspected was this kind of disgusting sense inside of D.C. and inside of state capitals also, Steve, where you have all of these consultants and lobbyists and insiders who are all working with the political class, who are working with professional politicians, and who are doing it every single day. Why do they do it? For profit. It's not because they believe in anything, and it's not to make the country better. It is strictly for profit, and that's why this investigation to the Lincoln Project.
This donor thing, the donors don't want to be associated with this. Okay, I want to go quickly. We're going to go to Boris Epstein. Boris, give us a market update of what's happening today, particularly with the Reddit rebels.
Steve, great to be with you. Good morning. Very interesting there in the Lincoln Project. Haven't seen George Conway that quiet in a long time, maybe since he was crying, celebrating President Trump's win in 2016, as we all saw at the time. So here's what's going on in the markets. Very interesting this morning. Lots of action on the key stocks. Again, I continue to own GameStop, AMC, BlackBerry, and Nokia, not Blue Star Airlines. On GameStop, it's down about 20% this morning. AMC was up about 25%. Now it's at 6%. You're seeing some stabilization, I think, in these stocks. Silver is what we've been looking at over the weekend. There's a lot of chatter on Zero Hedge and on the message boards and on Twitter about silver. Silver is only up about 6% this morning, actually down over the last 30 days, counting today, and it's been up huge throughout the last year. So actually not a large outside the norm move in silver this morning so far. So that's what you're seeing in the markets. It's not even noon. Lots of action still to take place. We're only two and a half hours into the stock markets being open on this Monday, February 1st.
Okay, Boris is going to be back at 5 o'clock today, do a market wrap. We're going to have more analysis of what's going on with the short squeeze, all the discussion of the Reddit rebels. Thank you very much, Boris, for joining us. Greitens, the show, by the way, best interview I've had in a long time is your interview with me the other day. Fantastic. Tell us about the show.
Actionable Intelligence, 6 p.m. Eastern on Real America's Voice, 5 o'clock Central. People can check in there. And also, I encourage everybody, go out to ericgreitens.com. You can follow us on social media at Eric Greitens. That's Greitens. And we're going to keep hitting it hard, Steve.
You got to come back over here and do this more
often.
Absolutely, because you woke up Raheem. Normally he sleeps through the morning show. So it's no, Raheem, I'm a big believer in competition. Raheem, what do you got going over the National Pulse? You guys, by the way, you and Solomon have done such great jobs on reporting.
I appreciate it. So the National Pulse show is now podcast form, which you can get at thenationalpulse.com/podcast or go to the National Pulse homepage. We are going to be doing at least one show a day now, unadulterated, getting into everything. It's already up on Spotify, on Amazon, on Podbean, on TuneIn, on Stitcher, and more. So check it out, thenationalpulse.com/podcast.
What's happening on the site today on National Pulse?
We have an awful lot. We got a new diary entry from yesterday of what's taking place in the Biden regime, what's happening. We're digging more into what's going on in Myanmar at the moment. I've got new information. The whole Lincoln Project donor list. We'll be publishing all their top donors later today. A literal wealth of huge scoops today.
Raheem Kassam showing the receipts. Okay, we're back at 5 o'clock tonight. We're going to have Dr. Peter Navarro is going to answer the Axios' front page story that says that everything that President Trump did in the trade war with China was a total and complete disaster. He'll respond to that. Also, he's pulled together all 3 volumes of his report, which could be a predicate. President Trump could just read that and offer his commentary